Good morning, excuse me. Good morning and welcome to our Administrative Matters meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. Thank you all for being here. As is our tradition, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for participating in the pledge. My name is John Kafalis, Commissioner from District 1, currently the Chair, joined by my Commissioner colleagues, Kristen Stevens from District 2 and Jody Shattuck McNally from District 3. Across the way, we have various folks, including Elizabeth Carter from the Clerk and Recorder's Office, Lorenda Volker from our County Manager, of course, and Tom Clayton from Public Affairs, and Sarah Martin from our office as well. So with that, the first order of business is public comment. According to the sign-up sheet, no one has signed up for public comment, and I don't believe anyone has registered yesterday to offer public comment remotely. Is that correct, Sarah?
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you. So before we close public comment, if there is anyone here who wishes to offer public comment but may not have signed up, this is your wonderful opportunity to get in the spotlight. That's all right then. We will close public comment and move on. Next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. We've had a chance to review the minutes. Commissioner Stevens, would you be kind enough to offer the motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of April 15th, 2024.
Thank you. That's a proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. We now move on to a review of our upcoming weekly schedule. Sarah Martin, this is yours.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for April 29th through May 4th, 2024. On Monday, April 29th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the Board of County Commissioners will convene as the Board of Social Services in the hearing room on the first floor. From 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., the Commissioners will attend an elected officials lunch at the Stakeout Saloon at 152 West Mountain Avenue in Fort Collins. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the hearing room on the first floor. From 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioners Stevens and Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together property tax legislation meeting. From 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., there will be a regional elected meeting at the Home Run Bar and Grill at Blue Arena at 5290 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Tuesday, April 30th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the Loveland Urban Renewal Authority Board meeting at the Loveland City Council Chambers at 500 East 3rd Street in Loveland. On Wednesday, May 1st, from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Commissioners Stevens and Shattuck McNally may attend a tour of the Larimer County Health Services at the Longview campus at 2260 West Trilby Road in Fort Collins. From 12:15 p.m. to 1:15 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Communities for Climate Action Legislative Group meeting. From 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Larimer County Office on Aging Community Fair at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Larimer County Office on Aging Community Fair at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 4:15 p.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioners will attend the Larimer County Office on Aging Older Americans Month Awards at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the TEDx Mountain Avenue Flourish Ideas Worth Spreading event at Pooter High School at 201 South Impala Drive in Fort Collins. From 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual North I-25 Coalition meeting. On Thursday, May 2nd, from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host a community conversation for the Wellington and Waverly communities. Guest and topic will be announced prior to the meeting at Avuncular Bob's T-Bar Inn at 3803 West Cleveland Avenue in Wellington. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Transportation Committee meeting. From 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together Governing Board meeting. From 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Highway 34 Coalition meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at Riverside Library and Cultural at 3700 Golden Street in Evans, or virtually via Microsoft Teams. From 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioners will attend the Breaking Walls Building Opportunities Launching Northern Colorado's Regional Youth Shelter event at 814 East 16th Street in Loveland. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Council meeting at the Riverside Library and Cultural at 3700 Golden Street in Evans, or virtually via Microsoft Teams. From 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Family Leadership Training Institute graduation ceremony at First Presbyterian Church at 531 South College Avenue in Fort Collins. From 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will speak at the Larimer County 101 class at the Behavioral Health Services at 2260 West Trilby Road in Fort Collins. On Friday, May 3rd, from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will participate in the virtual Colorado Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. From 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the State Board of Human Services meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at 1575 Sherman Street in Denver, or virtually via Zoom. From 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will attend the Regional Air Quality Council Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at 1445 Market Street in Denver, or virtually via Zoom. From 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Policy Committee meeting. On Saturday, May 4th, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., there will be Common Grounds with Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Guest will be Shane Atkinson, Legislative Coordinator, who will give an update on legislative impacts on Larimer County at the Loveland Library in the Gertrude Scott Room at 300 North Adams Avenue in Loveland. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the 2024 Down and Derby with Northern Colorado Unify at the Grain House and Rain Dance, 1781B Rain Dance National Drive in Windsor. And from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Animal Friends Alliance fundraiser at the Hilton Fort Collins at 425 West Prospect Road in Fort Collins.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, do you have any questions or feedback? Looks like we're good to go. Thanks. All right, then the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And as folks should know by now, these are items that we don't consider individually. They are typically administrative and they're routine. There's no perceived controversy about these particular items. If there are resolutions and things of that nature, we have reviewed all the documents and all of that. The commissioners have the option of pulling something off the consent agenda, but if not, we offer a motion to approve all the items on the consent agenda en masse. So with that, I will go through as efficiently as I can the items that are listed. These are consent agenda items for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. There are 2 abatements, petition for abatements or refund of taxes. Both of these are for tax year 2023, and the information is that the allotted refund amounts exceed $10,000. So 2 abatements. Next category is agreements. The first agreement is with the Colorado State Forest Service Financial Assistance Program Project Award Notification. This is a grant award from the Colorado State Forest Service to the county, the Department of Natural Resources, to complete a forest health project at the Hermit Park open space in the Estes Valley. The terms are April 1, 2024 through April 1, 2028, and the dollar amount, the grant amount, is $102,000. The next agreement is a grant of easement for a sanitary sewer. Lots of variety here. The county is granting an easement for a sewer main line that is on county property but was not of record at the time of purchase. This documents the pre-existing use on the Longview Farm open space, the separator, the community separator between Loveland and Fort Collins. Moving right along, the third agreement. Oh, and the previous thing, that's between the South Fort Collins Sanitation District and the county. There is no dollar amount involved. The third item is fiscal year 23, Bureau of Reclamation, Title 28, grant agreement, activities at Horsetooth and Pinewood Reservoirs, broadband cable installation, and asphalt repaving. This is between the County Department of Natural Resources. We've applied for and been approved for a grant in the amount of $228,000 from the Bureau of Reclamation. The approved funds will be used to purchase new boat docks, repave asphalt parking lots, construct the Inlet Bay to South Bay Trail. A lot of folks are excited about that, and install broadband cable at Bureau of Reclamation properties. Again, the dollar amount is $228,000, and the terms of this agreement are from March 12th of this year through December 31st of 2025. The next item is an appointment, correction of a previous appointment to the Red Feather Lakes Planning Advisory Committee. The individual, Laura Gaskill, had been appointed for a 4-year term, and the terms are actually 3 years. So this goes from January 1st of this year through December 31st of 2026. So there's a correction there. Next item is a letter of support. Letter of support, I-25 North Segment 5 project, letter of support. This is with the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, the NFRMPO, the Colorado Department of Transportation, and there is something called an MPDG, Multimodal Project Discretionary Grant. They've applied for funds. The county is providing a letter of support, and the funds will help with Segment 5 of the North I-25 project. And for those of you who travel I-25, you know that we have the additional lanes, the managed lanes. I don't believe they're tolling yet, are they? And Segment 5 is that one piece that still remains where we go from 3 lanes to 2 lanes and then back up to 3 lanes. The next item, liquor licenses, findings and order. This is something we had as our afternoon land use hearing. This relates to a land use decision that we made yesterday afternoon, Monday. This is the Riverside, Colorado LLC, doing business as the Poudre Park Market over there in Poudre Park up the canyon. This is a retail fermented malt beverage and wine license approval and issuance. Next, we have liquor license renewal for the Chill. I don't know where that is. It's in Fort Collins. And it's a tavern license approval and issuance. Third, liquor license. The third item is a liquor license renewal. Mini Mart, Loaf and Jug, one of the Loaf and Jugs in Fort Collins, license type fermented malt beverage and wine approval and issuance. Finally, liquor license renewal, REV Enterprises. This is the Sandy's Convenience Store in Loveland, license type fermented malt beverage and wine approval and issuance. The next category and final category is miscellaneous. We have the first quarter 2024 public trustee report. There are various stipulations. These are adjustments to the property value agreed upon by the property owner, the assessor, and the clerk and recorder have a role in this. These are all stipulations for tax year 2023. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. There are 9 of them. If you like, I can go through each of them individually. I just thought I'd get you to participate a little bit there. Then one other item under miscellaneous is a request for an additional appraiser 1. This was submitted by our deputy assessor. This basically is repurposing funds. There are 2 senior appraiser positions, and those dollars will be used to create this additional appraiser 1 to the assessor's office. The funds are there to support the extra position, and actually due to the retirement of 2 senior appraisers. There is one other item, policy, under policy, administrative policy, discovery, preservations. This updates our procedures implemented to preserve discovery for potential litigation for the court. So there you have it. Colleagues, do either of you wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Nor do I. Therefore, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you do the honors of the motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda for April 23rd, 2024.
Thank you. That's a lovely motion. Proper. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 3-0. We don't have any commissioners' guests. We have one discussion item, which is very exciting, and I believe that's why the folks here are primarily the folks here are assembled for this, and that is a proclamation declaring April 21st through the 27th as National Crime Victims Rights Week. I'll leave it at that. And Lorenda, do you want to cue this up, and then we'll invite our guests?
Certainly. I think proclamations like this are a great chance to highlight the things that the county does on behalf of the community. This is one of those things, and this group, I know that the cameras are focused on you and not the large crowd here, are all people who work in this area and who really do support our community when they're the most vulnerable after they're victims of crime. And so I'm not sure who the spokesperson will be who will introduce the proclamation. David Moore, I think you're up.
Thanks, Lorenda. Hello, David. And just so folks know, give you folks an opportunity to say a few words regarding the importance of this proclamation. Then I believe I'll ask Commissioner Stevens to read the proclamation. We'll make the motion, then we can offer comments, and then I suspect we'll need to do a photo op since I have these really cool proclamations for folks. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us today. My name is David Moore. I'm the Executive Director with the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. Since 1981, National Crime Victims Rights Week has challenged the nation to confront and remove barriers to achieving justice for all victims of crime. During this week, we celebrate the accomplishments of the victims' rights movement and reflect on how far we have come. This year's theme, How Would You Help? Options, Services, and Hope for Crime Survivors. The theme is a call to action for all of us to create a safe environment for crime victims to share what happened to them. By doing so, we're able to offer support, options for life-saving services, and most importantly, hope. Supporting victims is a crucial mission of the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, in all county offices who participate and deal with victims of crime. The Sheriff's Office responds to victims 24/7, 365 days a year, whether that be a critical incident, a domestic violence incident, suicide, death notifications, even during natural disasters like fires and floods. They literally help them through this entire process. They refer them local resources. They give them the care and the hope that they need. And then if it's in the criminal justice system, it passes on to the district attorney's office, where they help these victims through the entire criminal justice system to make sure that they're not doing this on their own. The dedicated men and women of all of these units go above and beyond to make sure victims are supported in every way possible to help them achieve that hope they so desperately deserve. These units don't do these things for accolades or recognition. They do them because they are compassionate, they care deeply for victims of crime, and they love their community. They are true heroes in my book. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I see that we have our district attorney here. Gordon, would you like to say a few words, sir?
Actually, our victim advocate manager, Kate Farrell, is going to come up.
All right, thank you. Oh, that's right. Oh.
Hello, thank you for having us today. I just wanted to add on is that it's not only Larimer County employees who are here, we also have members of our nonprofit victim services agencies here, Crossroads. We could not do it without the network of support that we have from nonprofit organizations, community members, law enforcement, as well as the advocates at the district attorney's office. I wanted to mention our National Crime Victims' Rights Week events that we have had. We had a community resource fair on Sunday to kick off the events, which was a little chilly to start, but it was great to see some of the commissioners there. I think that was a great way to recognize the kickoff to the event. We're having our event on Thursday at the Lincoln Center, where we're going to have some speakers talk about the impact that crime has had on their lives as an opportunity for us all to learn what we can do. I think we have a lot to be proud of in our community, but I think we also have a lot of room for innovation, growth, collaboration on how we can all work together. I'm really proud of our victim services community. We all work for separate agencies, but we are a team in and of ourselves working together to support the most vulnerable people in our community. So that is even more crucial at the time where we're seeing declines in state and federal funding of victim services. We certainly appreciate the commissioner's support of events like our Crime Victims' Rights Week, as well as throughout the year, the work that the victim services teams do across this community.
Thank you, and I suppose we would be remiss if you didn't mention a word or two about your companion.
Sure. This is Zion, so he's the facility dog, and Jody Shattuck McNally's commissioner's most personal selfie companion, I suppose. Zion works with victims of crime all across the process, so he has been in hearings, and not only victims of crime, he also has assisted in being a support to witnesses, just people who are really struggling with testifying in the criminal justice process and being a support to them. It is a scary time, and things that we maybe take for granted, but certainly the impact that survivors have facing their offender in court in a process like the judicial system cannot be understated. And so Zion's job is to help those individuals. I think he also does a really good job just helping the staff in my office, and other people. We're exposed to a lot of difficult material, the secondary trauma that I think victim services providers as well as law enforcement and attorneys face as they work to seek justice for victims. Zion can be a helpful reprieve to help mitigate some of that stress as well.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
Thank you so much.
Let's go with reading the proclamation and offering the motion, and then the commissioners, if they like, can ask questions or make some comments, and then I imagine we'll do a photo op with the puppy.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be reading the proclamation for National Crime Victims' Rights Week, which is April 21st through 27th. Whereas surviving a crime can have a myriad of lasting effects on victims, including physical, psychological, social, and financial issues. Whereas we know that countless survivors never tell anyone about what happened to them. And whereas it is necessary to create safe environments for survivors of crime, providing not only support, but also access to critical services, and above all, hope. And whereas victim service providers, community members, businesses, places of worship, colleagues, neighbors, and family members are capable of providing victim-centered, trauma-informed, and culturally responsive support. And whereas we must listen to survivors and be willing to create new options for support to ensure that all victims of crime can receive help and seek justice. And whereas we must do everything we can to show survivors that hope is, sorry, a typo, that hope is not, is tangible and within their reach. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week encourages all people to ask themselves the question, how would you help a victim of crime? And whereas Larimer County is hereby dedicated to raising awareness of options, services, and hope for crime survivors. Now, therefore, we do hereby proclaim the week of April 21st through 27th, 2024 as Crime Victims Rights Week, reaffirming Larimer County's commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime during Crime Victims Rights Week, and throughout the year, and expressing our sincere gratitude and appreciation for those community members, victim service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find relevant assistance, support, justice, and peace.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. Please offer the motion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the proclamation declaring April 21st through 27th, 2024 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week.
Excellent. This would be a good opportunity if folks want to say a few words. Commissioner Shaddock McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, let me thank you all for being here today. What an amazing crowd. I know all of you have your stories, and I know one thing that you all have in common is the size of your tremendous caring hearts. And I know each and every one of you, this means a lot this whole week, and the work that you do is immeasurable for our community. Before I came here this morning, I attended the Alternatives to Violence Purple Ribbon Breakfast. And I never can stay because I kind of come here to be at this meeting, but I wanted to just kind of thank all the volunteers and attendees because it was a full room. But the one thing that I don't really get to stay and listen to are from the victims, some of the surviving victims. One of them, I just want to give this a shout out, is one of them was Kimberly Corbin, who is a survivor advocate, and she speaks across the country on lots of national news, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, and she's a consultant for the End Violence Against Women International, and just a lot of things. But she was one of the keynotes, and she was very, very exciting to sit and talk to her. She was very interesting. But I sat next to Erica Bethel. And I'm sure you all know of Erica. She's a domestic violence survivor, but unfortunately her two daughters were not. And so I was thinking about that this morning as I was kind of come here to this proclamation and knowing that kind of the theme is what can you do and to end, crime and domestic violence and things. And one of the exercises they had us all do was have these green flags, red flags. And as they were reading memes or situations, whether this was a red flag or a green flag, we were supposed to hold this up. And some of them were trick questions. Of course, I always have a trick question. But I thought it was really good situation because it was any of us could see that happening, or maybe have someone tells us about the situation. So we all have an opportunity to do our part to support folks in situations, but also people that are victims of crime, whether it be our neighbors or our friends, but the wonderful organizations that are represented here, and also Crossroads and Alternative Violence and all the victims services that we have. I just think it's a lot that we can do here in the community. I want to thank District Attorney Gordon McLaughlin and his amazing staff, of course, Kate and Zion are super fans. I probably should start a fan page for you or something. So with all,
He has an Instagram.
yeah, we should do it. I need to get on that Instagram. But you have increased the website and the availability for crime victims and services, and I think that's just tremendous. And having the opportunity to come out and celebrate the agencies like Child Safe and others who are there and doing lots of work in our communities. And I would be neglectful if I didn't say we need to advocate at the federal level not to have this funding cut. Tremendous impacts there if that happens, and I will continue to use my voice as I have for the last 6 months to say this is probably not a good thing to cut because it will have long-lasting, tremendous impacts of not the great kind for our community. I really appreciate David, you kept mentioning hope in your comments, and some of the things in the proclamation mentioned hope. And so, for me, hope is something that I hold on to every day because there's something always to brighten your day, whether it's the flowers or the sun or the trees or hearing the birds, a hike, seeing a marmot at low elevation instead of high elevation. It's like, wow, what are you doing down here? And then he struck a pose for my pictures, of course. But there's always something to be hopeful for. And I know a lot of times victims in the middle of their crisis, they can't seem to see the trees or the bright blue sky. It seems like there is no light. It's only shadows. And so I think all that you do to give people hope and show them that there is hope and that they can reach for it is can't be understated how tremendously impactful and how important that is. So I always like to talk about while we breathe, we should be hopeful. We can hope. And I think one of the quotes that from Dale Carnegie that I always look back at is most of the important things that have been done in this world and accomplished by people are people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. And you all help support victims of crime and folks when there's no hope at all, to encourage them to keep trying, that there is hope. And I want to just thank you for your work and tremendously excited to have you all here today. And I will be voting to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So thank you all for being here. It was an honor to read the proclamation. I had some opportunity on Sunday to come by the resource fair, so I saw a lot of you there in your coats and hats and mittens and trying to stay warm. And so appreciate that. I think that it was a really nice event. I hope that you enjoyed it as the sun came out. But really had the opportunity to go around to all the booths and visit with folks. So SAVA was there, CSU PD, Fort Collins PD, Loveland PD, Child Safe, Ashley Doolittle Foundation, Fort Collins Museum of Art had color pages for Zion, so that was pretty special. Crossroads was there, and then I believe it was Rocky Mountain Victim Law Centers, is that right? Okay, I think I got everyone. And so it was really great to just have the time to be able to visit with everyone and see the important work that everyone is doing to make this happen, and how everyone works together, and how those resources are so valuable when someone's been a victim of crime. And so really just enjoyed visiting with all of you and appreciate the work that you do. At the Loveland PD booth, I was talking to one of the volunteers. So there was a police officer, and then, or not a police officer, a victim services advocate, and then a volunteer in it. And I think the volunteers are some of the unsung heroes in this conversation, because I think the police departments and the sheriff's department do rely on volunteers a lot to do this work on weekends and nights. And so these are folks who in our communities want to help for whatever reason. And so in talking to the volunteer at the Loveland Police Department booth, I said, why, how did you get interested in this? And she said, my day job is kind of just numbers and not, it's good. It's good work, but it doesn't fulfill me in the way that this work does. And I like being able to help people, and this is a way that I can help people. And so just thank you for all of you. You all help people every day. You help people in crisis in their worst times. It is difficult work. Zion, I'm glad, is both a relief to the victims and to the people in the office, because I think that that's really important. Secondary trauma is something you also deal with every day too. So just thank you for the work you do. Happy to acknowledge that work this week, and looking forward to the event on Thursday night. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. I'll just simply say thank you very much. It's yet another example of all of us working together. A lot of good partnerships, community-based nonprofit organizations that have been mentioned. Certainly, the district attorney's office. Thank you to our district attorney Gordon, and the sheriff's office. Absolutely, and of course our county Department of Human Services. So it's a real partnership collaboration. I think there's a lot of reference to doing this work is probably not easy work. People experience um, a lot of trauma at being victims of crimes, certainly domestic violence. I'm glad we were able to add some additional resources to help prosecute some of those cases. So well done. Thank you. Um, thank you for bringing Zion. and I think that's all I have to say because my colleagues have said it well. Lorenda, would you like to add anything, please?
I guess just one final thank you for the work you do. It is truly important, and it's seen all the time, but this week it's great to celebrate you all.
Excellent. So there is a motion on the table to approve the proclamation for declaring this week a National Victim Rights Week. Um, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes 3-0. I believe we'll take a 5-minute break for photo op. And we do have the proclamations. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. That was a very moving event, and we appreciate everyone for being here, District Attorney's Office and other nonprofits. So I'm Kristen Stevens, and I will be chairing the rest of the meeting because Commissioner Kafalis, our chair, will be attending a ribbon cutting for an affordable housing project. Is that correct? So we wish you well, and please say hello from us. So we will move on to our next agenda item. That is the county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to keep mine pretty brief this time. I wanted to thank the community members. There were nearly 3,500 responses to our transportation survey that will provide really good information for our strategic plan and our engineering and road and bridge departments to present to you all. So thank you to the community. That is important for us to hear your feedback and to be able to register that as decisions get made going forward. And I also have noticed in recent weeks, we are getting a lot of departmental annual reports. And so I wanted to bring that to the public's attention. If you go to the webpage larimer.gov and type in annual report at the top, you will find Economic and Workforce Development, the Health Department, Behavioral Health, our Extension Office, the Ranch, Natural Resources, Community Justice Alternatives. If you're interested in any of those services, that is a really great place to see what they've done over the past year. There are previous year reports there as well. We don't do enough, I think, to really publish those and talk about how important it is. That is good data that talks about how we've done our work and how we plan to do our work in the future. So those two things I wanted to highlight in my report today, and that is all.
Thank you, Lorinda. Any questions for Lorinda? All right. We'll move on to Commissioner Activity Reports. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. So I'll just go back to last week. On Tuesday, April 16th, I've been having lots of conversations with, it was the After the Flames Conference and Workshop, and I've been having conversations with the State Forester and others regarding some of the work that we can do in the future regarding wildfire mitigation and our forest health. There's a lot happening in that space, and we're getting ready for, fire season seems to be year-round, but we're getting ready for kind of the traditional fire season. And so lots of conversations about the funding and legislation that we're looking at, and it's super exciting to see still a lot of folks coming and being involved and having all that feedback as we work together, because this is really all hands on deck, all agencies, all partners, all local governments, state and federal, all together to come together and get this accomplished. I was able to attend the Veterans Together meeting online. That was really great to connect with folks and have some conversations about the services that they're trying to do and the connections and how they're trying to recruit more folks to come to their meetings. And I appreciate Lee Cooper and his work there and being in attendance, and exciting to hear from some of those folks and the things they do for other veterans. We had our regional, on the 18th, we had our regional opiate abatement council data subcommittee. I'm sitting on that committee as well as chairing the vice chair of the regional opiate abatement council, and also sitting on the statewide data subcommittee for the Colorado opiate abatement council. And lots of conversations about how we bring this data together, who has the data, and now we're going to combine some work from one of the grantees and their work with Butler to kind of see how we can wrangle this data into some measurable metrics as we work on showing how this money is getting out and making an impact, and how all this worked in different agencies and hospitals and local governments and all the nonprofits that are serving this, how we can show the work that's happening and the tremendous difference in saving lives, basically. I was able to, I was very honored and very excited to attend the National Association Counties and Pew Charitable Trust Virtual Summit on Intergovernmental collaboration on the behavioral health crisis, and we got to hear from other counties and local governments and collaborations who are doing some really collaborative things, very similar to what we're doing at Longview, but don't have quite the they might have like acute care center, but they don't have the stay component where they can stay a couple days afterwards. But a lot of governments bringing money together at a local level and finding local solutions to have kind of this crisis intervention, acute care. And so we were talking about how sometimes getting funding or collaboration from our state and federal partners is a little bit slow and clunky, and that we really need to be responding now, and the need and the crisis is now. And so it was great to talk with groups from around the country, small municipalities and small counties, smaller, large like us, but very small and rural. But what one of the groups. I forgot which county, Johnson County, but I forgot what state it was. But he's actually reached out and said, "Hey, Commissioner, I'm working with your county already, and it happens to be that he's working with our Community Justice Alternatives for the Familiar Faces program." And so that was really a great connection to see. He's very impressed with what we're doing, and we're kind of impressed with what he's doing. And so, kind of that collaboration and sharing of best practices was very heartening, and I really feel honored to be able to be invited to be a part of that roundtable. We had our county and commissioners, counties, and acting together meeting after that, and I also have my National Association of Counties Rural Action Caucus, and there's just a lot happening there with the PFAS and our broadband and some of these other groups that we're trying to work on still of natural interest. It's a lot of great speakers. I won't go into too much in depth on that, but I'd be more than happy to share that with anyone. Then we had our Estes Valley Planning Advisory Committee meeting, and very robust conversations there. They didn't really have much in ways of items they were voting on, but we had a lot of discussions about future planning and what kind of items may or may not be coming in front of them. And so that was kind of the gist of the conversation, but I really appreciate everyone's service on that committee. And then on Friday, I had my Forest Health Council Legislative Committee that I chair, and we further defined our 2025 legislative priorities for next year to present to the Governor's Office, the General Assembly, and to bring forward into the Wildfire Interim Matters Committee later this summer. And really excited about this. We kind of really focused on some workforce and capacity and internships and workforce pipeline through schools to talk about the need for people going into forestry and to conservation and nature jobs, because we need more boots on the ground to deal with kind of that pipeline for getting our forests back to being healthy and growing in some of the burn areas, but also just this wildfire mitigation work that is so desperately needs to be done. Then I attended the Yale University Lessons in Climate Change storytelling series, and it was very interesting. There was lots of folks from counties around the state and around the country, and it was folks who were sharing how they were getting the public to understand how climate change impacts them, and storytelling. And one of the examples was the group that did the mercury in fish and how they got that story out to help educate especially pregnant mothers that they should be very careful about the kinds of fish they ate because of mercury. And so it was very fascinating. It's online. I think they recorded it, and you can go to the Yale University Lessons in Storytelling. I think it should be on the website. Then we had another CCAT Natural Resources meeting in the afternoon, still talking a lot about legislation, including one of these pilot programs, bills for wildfire mitigation. And so I know my colleagues at the state legislature worked over the weekend, but I'm sure they're just like us. We're feeling a little hectic and a little urgency as we get near the session. Still lots of opportunities to get bills done, but it's fast and furious right now. A little disappointed we didn't get to go out and get our hands dirty for Earth Day with some of the litter pickup or the trail building. So I decided that I was going to go out, and I walked around some parks and with some neighbors. Even though it was snowing, raining, we picked up some trash and litter along the roads. And they were like, "Oh, that was great." Even though we got to it was amazing how it took an hour and a half just to do a half mile. There was that much litter and stuff around the roads and the parks. But it was just, it felt like you were doing something for that day, and then even Saturday morning. And then, let's see, I stopped by very briefly on my way to another event for the Earth Day at the Civic Park. Everyone's out there cold and in the snow, but there's still a lot of amazing booths and groups out there, and I just appreciate them, even with the cold weather, just coming out and learning and seeing how they can do to help support our earth and help do litter cleanup and other activities. And them continue to do the Earth Day events. I went to the new Compost Queen, which is a very circular economy composting area just north Fort Collins, and it's a small business, women-owned small business, and it's based on in kind of in the middle of an industrial area. It's a non-conforming use. It's been a gentleman owned this land for 80 years, and he has a regenerative farm on there, and so clients can come in and be a part of this and get their very made thin composting, but there's also what I learned about ores, which is something that I use when I compost at home, and then the farming and the services there, and it was very interesting to learn. Larimer County was there with a booth for the farmers market, and there was NRCS, the National Conservation Resources Services from the federal government, and they were teaching about soil health and the importance of that and the microbes, and that was I love that exhibit. There was all kinds of community groups with booths and stuff there, and then we got a big tour of the whole system and how it comes in and where it goes and how they're going to use it on the farm. And I found that just fascinating, and it was really exciting. I was there with a couple of the Fort Collins City Council members, Melanie Pot-Yondi and Susan Gutowski, and I appreciate the invitation, and it's great to see these women-owned businesses that are being entrepreneurial and innovative, and really enjoyed that. Then I went to the National Crime Victims Week event put on by all these wonderful folks here that were here earlier, and it was great to tour around all the different booths and talk to all the executive directors and volunteers and participate, and that's where I got a lot of my ribbons and buttons here today, and I appreciate the time the folks were out there to share the resources, but also just to raise awareness. It's very exciting to be a part of that and to visit. And I think that's all I have to share. I have lots of other things that were going on, but those are some of the big ones.
Thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally. I'll be brief. I was not in the office a lot last week because of recovering from a car accident. On Thursday, I spoke to the Larimer County 101 group. That was pretty fun, although I would say don't go before the coroner, because I think that while the work we do is interesting and important, it's probably not maybe as fascinating or as maybe graphic as some of the work the coroner does. And so, but it was a great group. It's a small group, but it's a group of people that are very engaged and have really good questions. So I was appreciative of that. Friday, I had the Middle Income Housing Authority Board. We found out that we will not, as a board, as an authority board, be eligible for the middle income tax credit, which is very interesting that you would create a group and then disallow them from using a tool that would help them create more affordable, especially middle income housing in our communities. So we are writing a hopefully strongly worded letter to the sponsors saying that we should be able to take advantage of this. Right now, we don't really have anything to speak of as far as a budget, so our only ability to finance is through bonding, and because of the high interest rates, there just aren't a lot of takers. There's a lot of gaps with affordable or with middle income housing, specifically because there's not as many funding opportunities for them. And so think about housing for our first responders or teachers, folks in a middle income but still struggling to find housing that works for them. And so anyway, to be continued, but I don't know that will change. But right now, really, we have some applicants that were part of the pilot program. They are struggling to find gap funding, although it looks like a project in Granby may have received some of the earmarks from the federal government, and they might be able to, or they're most likely to be able to go ahead with their middle income housing. And then, on Sunday, attended that Victims' Rights Week resource fair, and I already spoke about that. So that is all for me. And it is 9:56, and we are adjourned. Thank you.